It turns out that CBS's decision to hire former Trump acting chief of staff Mick Mulvaney was to basically ensure that they have access to the Republican Party. In fact, their co-president said as much recently. Let me give you his quote. If you look at some of the people that we've been hiring on a contributor basis, being able to make sure that we are getting access to both sides of the aisle is a priority because we know the Republicans are going to take over, most likely in the midterms. A lot of the people that we're bringing in are helping us in terms of access to that side of the equation. And while it's clear that they're engaging in access journalism, because literally their co-president of news made that very, very clear in this leaked audio, they are, denying that they're doing this for any type of nefarious purpose. A senior CBS news producer addressed the backlash to the Mulvaney hiring on Tuesday by pointing to the 74.2 million Americans who voted for Trump in 2020. So what? I mean, it's one thing to provide the perspective or report on the perspective of right-wing voters in the country. No one's saying to prevent that from happening. But it's something entirely different to have ideologues hired as contributors who do analysis and are expected to give the news to your audience. And that's exactly what happened when CBS introduced Mick Mulvaney as their recent hire. Let me remind you of what that looked like.
Biden has announced a $5.8 trillion budget proposal for the 2023 fiscal year, which includes a wealth tax for the richest people in the country. Households with assets of more than $100 million would face a minimum tax of 20%. So here to discuss is Mick Mulvaney. He's a former Office of Management and Budget Director. And today I am pleased to welcome him as a CBS News contributor. So happy to have you here. Thank you so much. You're the guy to ask about this.
No, he's not the guy to ask about it. In fact, he was asked to detail what the proposal was, which is the job of a journalist, which is the job of a reporter, not the job of a former Trump White House official and an ideologue who gutted the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. That is not news, that's garbage. That's essentially uplifting right-wing propaganda and repackaging it and laundering it as news. Farron.
It drives me insane when we see these networks do this. Like, oh, we're gonna hire this person because we need access to Republicans. We need access to members of Congress. I spent many years as the producer on Ring of Fire Radio. Some of them when I was still waiting tables in the evening. I never had any problem reaching out to Congress. It's fairly easy. Their phone numbers are actually public, and I'm sure saying I'm with CBS News, probably pretty easy to get access to really anybody you want. So I think it's total BS when they try to say like, oh, this is all about access. No, it's about ideology. You're trying to cater to this group of people for a specific reason. It's just like with John Brennan when he got hired by NBC, MSNBC a couple years ago. They allow some of the most horrid people we have seen throughout recent American history to go on there and effectively remake their image. Mick Mulvaney is now not the guy that destroyed, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. He's just the guy out there giving you the news. He's not the guy who said, oh, Trump's phone call with Zelensky was bad, but the media is overblowing it. No, he's the guy just telling you what's happening in the country today. He's on a trustworthy source. So maybe he's a trustworthy guy. That's what happens with these people, and they get paid the big bucks to go out there and pretend like all the horrible things they've ever done never happened, and the public buys into it too. And that's really the worst part of it. 6 months from now, Mulvaney is not going to be remembered for any of the horrible things he did. He's just going to be the friendly guy that comes on and tells us what's really happening with the Biden administration on CBS. That's what this is going to turn into because they want a piece of that right-wing audience. That's the access they really want. They can get anybody from DC to come on their program that they want. I guarantee they got no problems with that. They want access to those hardcore Republicans. They want to take the Fox News, the Newsmax people, and turn them into regular CBS Sunday morning viewers. That's the access they're after.
I mean, they're so delusional about that because why would Trump supporters or any like rabid right winger, turn his or her back on Newsmax, OAN, Fox News to go listen to CBS? Is CBS willing to stoop to the level of the outlets I just listed? I don't think they are, although who knows? These days, I don't know what they're capable of. And remember, during the Trump administration, during the 2016 election, there was a video that was leaked, audio actually, that was leaked of the former head of CBS, Les Moonves. And he was actually very clear about how, at the end of the day, profit, ratings, that's the only thing they genuinely care about. Take a listen.
Who would have thought that this circus would come to town? But it may not be good for America, but it's damn good for CBS. That's all I got to say. So, what can I say? It's the money's rolling in, and this is polls are open. This is fun. I've never seen anything like this, and this is going to be a very good year for us.
It's gonna be a very good year for them, Farron. I mean, it's fun. It's fun. I mean, it's bad for America, but it's good for ratings. Am I right? Like, that is what their number one priority is. And what I find so fascinating is, look, I get it. I totally understand the pressures that come along with creating programming that is sustainable, right? Like, you still have to make money in order to survive. But I've found that places like TYT, places like Ring of Fire, all of these independent news sources are still able to cover the news fairly, accurately, without laundering the reputations of all sorts of terrible people. We're not millionaires, we're not making a ton of money, but I think we're in it for the right reasons. We're making a living, I'm happy about that, right? But we're able to share information, share the news with the audience. We're open about our own personal biases, of course. And we're not helping to clear up the reputation of individuals who do not deserve to have their reputations laundered in any way.
And we're not afraid to call out either side either. As you mentioned, yes, we all have biases. I mention it all the time on Ring of Fire. But I'm also not afraid to shy away when Biden screws up, just as you're not and TYT isn't. Like, hey, the Democrats did something really horrible here. Let's talk about it. You're not gonna get that from any of these Republican folks. They absolutely refuse to admit it, unless, of course, it's Madison Cawthorn this week. That set them off. But for the most part, we are fair. And we do have a lot of fun with it. We're not trying to cater to any specific groups. We're not trying to change who we are as individuals. We're out there telling how we feel. We're telling what is happening. And we're giving people a better explainer than they can get from these corporate shills in the mainstream media. And that is exactly what they are. And for a long time, believe it or not, CBS was the best out of all the worst. They actually had the least corporate influence than all of the other outlets. And then, yeah, like you said with that Moonves clip there, that was a huge turning point. And that is when things at CBS really started to kind of get, upside down. And they're still going down that path because, yeah, hiring a former Trump official, oh my God, we can absolutely market that. Maybe we can steal a little bit of that audience, or maybe at the very least, get some of the middling Republicans who maybe aren't quite sure, like, oh, okay, well, there's a friend of ours on the TV now. This is a friendly outlet that we can start watching. Whatever their motivation is, at the end of the day, it's always money. And they're gonna make a ton of it off this decision, I guarantee you.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.